Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk about the two improved characters. We might as well call them new characters, Elektra and Bullseye, because they've gotten a huge overhaul, new 6-star skills or 5th skills, and new tier 2 passives, and some reworks for Elektra's remaining skill set. So I am super excited to get into that with you guys. However, I do have to put some announcements ahead of the video just to let you guys know, just to let everybody listening know. I am going to be doing a special stream about 9 hours from when this video drops, so it's going to be my Saturday morning, and I'm going to be doing that to make up for the fact that next weekend I won't be able to stream at all, and the weekend after that, the last weekend of January, I probably will not be able to stream either. So I do apologize for that, guys, but I am making it up to you guys with an extra stream on Saturday, which will be Friday night Eastern time, and I'll have more information in the description, so check that out, guys. So now that we have that out of the way, we can get to the actual video. We have two characters here, Elektra and Bullseye, who got a pretty massive overhaul. Elektra more so than Bullseye, but both of them got a lot changed for them. So we're going to check out first in the skill preview what exactly is different, and then we're going to play around with them and see if we can make something happen. So as far as Elektra goes, she got an entire skill set rehaul. Almost all of her skills have changed. The animations have changed. The damage numbers have changed. Everything. So it's almost like a whole new character. So checking out Elektra at the start, we're going to see that she does have a lot of iframes, and it's going to make her a much more viable speed character for basic content. This does not make her meta, and this does not make her you know, the Doctor Strange killer or someone for Extreme Alliance battle, but she is a very capable, even tier 1 speed character. So let's check it out. In her first skill, it's just a basic bunch of hits, nothing too shabby there. Probably does pretty decent damage in regular game modes. Her second skill is an iframe at the jump. After she comes down, of course, she loses the iframe, but as you can see there, you get a good second's worth of an iframe when she comes down for that initial hit. It's just the kick that's a non-iframe. Then Elektra's third skill here, it's a full iframe. It's a very, very good skill. She engages the enemy up close, then she throws these residual damage dealing discs that will do some additional hits there to the enemy. So that's very good. That's very, very reminiscent, or it looks almost exactly the same as Moon Knight's second skill, Crescent Darts. I would guess that they lifted the animation right off of his character because it's almost identical, except there are less darts, which is fine. Or they're not even darts, they're like discs or size or something. I can't tell. Anyways, it's a great skill. It's an iframe. It's very useful. Then Elektra's fourth skill, another iframe. She teleports away like Black Cat, and then she comes from behind because she likes to use the back door, and she gets a few sneaky hits in. Those hits are non-iframes, as you can see, but you can use the fourth skill as a repositioning tool before going into another skill if you want to remain safe, or if you have an opportunity to deal damage, you can let the animation finish. Not a bad skill at all. Definitely got some usefulness there. Then her big fifth skill. This is the one we were all waiting for, guys, and it does not disappoint. It's a huge iframe with a lot of damage. That's the full effect with a 5 seconds worth of bleed. As you can see, it takes a little bit of time to wind up into it, so you will need some attack speed in order to trigger this iframe very quickly. But if you have low attack speed like me, you're going to have to wait with that initial kick, because you do have about, I'd say about an 1/8 of a second's worth before the iframe kicks in, maybe a little bit less than that. But you can see that the kick is still going, and then all of the AI has backed down because she's in iframe mode, and it's a whole flurry of hits with darts and a slash through at the end. Ideally, if the positioning and targeting works out well, she'll end up behind the opponent, which is fantastic, because then Elektra can continue to deal hits safely, especially against world bosses like Thanos. You can reposition against his beams more successfully, and the skill keeps you damage free because it's a full iframe, so that's fantastic. Overall, I'm very happy with Elektra's new skill set. She's got 3 iframes. 2 of them are full iframes, so that puts her up there with some of the best iframe characters. And we're going to have to see how her damage plays out, but everything I've seen so far as far as posts go and videos and just testimonials, people are very, very happy. So I'm happy as well. Unfortunately, guys, this means that we're going to have to lay to rest the Elektra meme. So I wanted to just take a second here while these guys are attacking me. Let's turn this off for a second, and let's just have a silent moment of prayer for the Elektra meme. Alright, fuck that shit, it's over. So an ideal skill rotation for Elektra would probably go something like, you want to open with the 5 because it's got the most damage, presumably, and it's an iframe there. So you want to open with the 5 and then safely go into the 2 and then into the 3, and then if you have a chance, go into the 4. However, you can just use the 4 as a stall for the cooldown on the 5. So you do something like 5, let it play out. Once it finishes, you can streamline back into the 2, into the 3 with the full, and then you can reposition for the 4 just to go right back into the 5. You probably won't need to rotate through all of those skills if you have max skill cooldown, because her cooldowns are pretty short. But overall, I would say this is like an A to an A+ rework. It was long overdue, and you know, we had to sacrifice a lot to get this for Elektra, but I'm happy that she got it, and I'm excited to use her in game modes now, which is something I never thought I would say. The next one up on the list is Bullseye. He got a little bit less of a redo, but he basically got his 5th skill, which looks to be his best skill now, and he got his tier 2. I'm a little bit more disappointed with Bullseye because I think the majority of his kit is intact, and the majority of his kit sucked, so I don't know why they didn't take a little bit more time for Bullseye to change some of that stuff. I know he has a very powerful leadership with the 50% ignore dodge. I mean, his leadership is some characters' tier 2 passives, so it's very powerful. But I still think that they could have done more for the character. So what remains unchanged for Bullseye, by the way, if you're using the uniform, it is a nice uniform, but I believe the Bullseye uniform remains unchanged as well. So all of the things I'm going to say in this review or this overview of Bullseye will apply for his uniform. I just don't have it, so I'm not going to pretend like I do with the preview. His first skill is just absolutely terrible. He roots himself and he does mediocre damage with 1 hit. Just horrible. His second skill is a little bit better, but not much. He still roots himself, but at least now he jumps back, and he does a bit more of an AoE type attack. You've seen this before if you've ever done Villain Siege. It's exactly the same. His third skill is the only skill that really changes a lot with his uniform, and instead of just buffing himself, he does a buff with a move and a shot. So the third skill is a bit more of a repositioning skill, which is good if you have the uniform. Then his fourth skill, which used to be his only other skill, just does a bunch of card throws and moves him around a little bit, and it's an iframe once he engages with those throws. So you can see there's a bit of a wind up to it, but then the enemies back down. Then the last skill for Bullseye, his newest skill, the Madness Knife, is very, very good. So he spins, he does a couple shots, and then he rains down a shitload of knives. I want to watch it again. I really like this animation. I really like that overhead Bullseye debuff that you guys get there on the enemies. I think that's fantastic. I wish more characters had those kind of nice overhead large icon debuffs or buffs. I think it's very, very cool. If we could get some Eye of Agamotto's for Doctor Strange and co, that would be just, you know, that would probably make me forgive the uniform upgrade system. No, it wouldn't. But anyways, yeah, very good skill. It buffs Bullseye as well. He gets that Pierce with the tier 2, but he also gets the all speed bonus. So this is definitely a skill, not only because it's an iframe and huge damage and huge AoE, it's a skill that you want to open with, but it's also a skill that you want to use frequently because the rest of his kit is so bad. So an ideal skill rotation for Bullseye would probably be something like 5, quickly into 3, into 4, and then into 2 if you can. If that doesn't work for you, you can also alternatively try 5, into 2 while they're being hit, into 4. But honestly, I am pretty disappointed with Bullseye's update. It's kind of lackluster, and Bullseye and Hulkling might be now competing for the bottom, despite the fact that Bullseye just got his update. So I am a little bit disappointed in this one. I love Madness Knife, and I love that icon, but that's not enough for me, and I would probably only give this about a solid B upgrade. But honestly, I haven't heard as much about Bullseye's rework as I have about Elektra, so if you guys think that Bullseye is really awesome, let me know in the comments. Of course, I'm always watching and always reading, and you know, I may adjust my opinions based on further analysis. Last but not least, I do want to check out their tier 2 passives and give you guys a little bit more insight on what I think about them and how they interact with the character. So as far as Elektra's new skill set goes, she's got the Revived Assassin, which would make you think that she comes back to life, which is something that I think Elektra has been known to do, or at least feign her death in the comics and stuff. Unfortunately, she doesn't get that at all, so I don't know why they went with Revived Assassin as the name. It's a little bit counterintuitive and misleading, but okay. 20% increase to all crit rate, which is very nice. 20% guaranteed dodge, which is not bad. And a 25% increase to skill damage and bonus damage. Now, it was difficult before I knew what Elektra's skills were going to pan out to be to really judge this tier 2 passive. That's why I want to rejudge it. I know I did briefly touch on it in the initial patch note video, but we have a much better idea of what Elektra looks at and how she shakes out. So I think that my opinion and my idea about it is a lot more well-rounded given the information that I now have. Keeping in mind that they also buffed the Assassin's Instinct 4-star passive, which buffs her own crit rate by 10%. You can see here that with very little investment, she's got almost 22% crit rate and almost 150% crit damage. I don't have any crit rate on my card, so full disclosure there, I'm not getting any bonuses or on the ISO, and I'm only getting about 7% or 8% from the gear, which is something that anyone can get. So it's nice that she has a pretty high floating crit rate, and that's before you get this tier 2 passive. So with the tier 2 passive, you could very easily get 50% crit rate with Elektra without any investment, and I assume you could probably hit the cap of 75 if you invested a bit more heavily in it. So that's very, very strong. She's just missing crit damage, so that's something that you would have to spec for in your cards, in your Uru, and maybe eventually when she gets a uniform, in her uniform. Overall, I think it's a pretty fair tier 2 passive. It's on the lower end of power levels for tier 2 passives given the landscape of the game, but given all of the other upgrades, I don't think that they wanted to thrust her too heavily into the spotlight, so I understand if they held back a little bit with her tier 2 passive, but it's not bad. I just think her leadership definitely needs to change still, because all speed 6%. We've discussed this before. Fucking sucks. Lastly, we have Bullseye. Now, with his tier 2 passive Madness Slayer, he gets a bunch of effects triggered when he uses his Madness Knife 5th skill. Now, I misspoke earlier when I said that the all speed bonus is given even at tier 1. It's not. So you don't necessarily need to open with Madness Knife, but it is still really important to open with Madness Knife if you want to be successful with Bullseye, because it gives that all defense 500 points down. It's not a big debuff, but it is a debuff, and it is an iframe, and it is a high damage skill, so it probably is still the rotation that you want to go with, as I outlined earlier. As far as this tier 2 passive goes, I wish that it gave some kind of immunity or some kind of heal or some kind of survivability to Bullseye, because he doesn't really get it from his kit. He doesn't have a lot of iframes, he doesn't have a lot of movement. So I feel like this will increase his damage, and the pierce with all damage, immune to all damage effect for 10 seconds is nice, and it does counter some of the other like quasi meta tier 2s like Captain Marvel and Black Bolt, but those characters are just so much stronger in their base kits than Bullseye that I don't think it's really enough. So I think that he could have gotten more from his tier 2, especially to balance out the fact that he didn't get a lot of reworks to his original kit. So I'm a little bit disappointed overall with Bullseye and his tier 2 passive. But again, as always, guys, I am curious what you guys think. If you think I am misjudging Bullseye, if he's a misunderstood villain, if Colin Farrell really did do a good job portraying him in the movie. So I am really curious what you guys think about the reworked Elektra and Bullseye. I hope to see you guys for the new live stream that we're going to be doing. We're still going to be doing the regular Sunday one, guys, so don't worry about that. Nothing is being lost. We're just adding in an extra one to make up for lost time in the future. And of course, guys, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.